not. All right, so let us jump to the next thing. Positioning, bonus, responsive. All right, total loan models. So let me show you. It's going to open up. All right. Let me show you what we're going to do with this thing right now. All right. So now, on the Mars website, we went earlier to the Mars website to take a look at some of the things to see where they were positioned, right? Some of the things that I pointed out were like those scroll bars here. I try to highlight this and get the position. We knew that it was positioned because we saw top or left. But there were other things that were positioned too, like these little circles right here. These are actually positioned. Once again, I kind of emulated the site. I went to the site, saw how they did it in my own version because there's a lot of classes, there's a lot of nesting. I don't see the need for all that, but I'm sure there is for how they design it. That's position. This thing down here could be position also. I forgot if I did this as position, or this is just the header, and then this thing just sits, right? Because once again, the header could go from the top to the bottom right here, and if I tell this to be position absolute, bottom 0, it will sit on top of the header. And there could be more image there, there may not be more image there. So this is kind of what we're trying to shoot for, okay? Now, let me just take a look. This could be, right? The fact that I do this, and then this, right? What am I trying to convey? The fact that I'm highlighting that little box, and then I'm highlighting the parent element. What am I trying to convey? I mean, if I click on it and I go to its parent, what would you expect from what you learned besides the position absolute? Because now you know the secret, right? If I click on the element, I could make the distinction that margin's not being used here to position it, right? The element itself is not forcing its way down. If I click on the parent, I can see that the parent isn't using padding to push it down, right? We did that with relaxer. We did that on one of the other ones too, where margin was pushing the thing out of the box and it was pushing against the next element. We needed border to fix that, right? So just highlighting things like this and then going to the parent will immediately be like, oh, that thing has to be position absolute. So this is position absolute. And so when I see that this stuff, position absolute, a relative that's being used everywhere, I'm using these real world examples to say, when I kind of look at them and I redesign them, or I design them based on, I try to replicate it, I'm seeing it everywhere. And that's, I would use it, and I do use it. I like using it. So we know that that's positioned absolute. If I go here, right, I click on this. There's nothing there to indicate margins or anything. And so we could see, oh, this has display flex on the thing. I have position absolute on it. And I'm using percentages here also. So if I remove position absolute, where does it go? Straight up to the top. Okay? So it's looking for something to be relative to, right? Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of build this out together, put those pieces in place, and then you're going to do it with the food sense side. Okay? So I'm going to go back here. Let me slack this out. There we go. That's our starter. Let's close out some of my stuff over here. So, first things first, right? I'm going to go into editor view here. I can take a look and see what we're going to need to do here. So, where would I if this is the big box, so this is the box itself, so I'm just going to take a look at the HTML and see what we're working with, right? Here's the HTML, and I have this div container, and it looks like everything's in the container, right? Everything's in the container, and we're using the container to kind of like position like margins left and right, so I can do margin 0 auto. That's usually what the container, a massive container that contains everything, that's usually what it's doing, okay? Then I have the header, that's everything else. So I have the nav, I have a wrapper, right? Here's our wrapper, and here's our little bullets down there. There's the more bar. I just want to show you the structure. You might see this and be like, oh, that's got grid written all over it. I can just grid this thing and put everything where we want to, maybe. But I have the nav. The wrapper is this thing for this. The bullet counts are these little things. I have the more bar, which is here, and the left and the right slides. We need to get them in their positions absolutes, right? That's what we need to do. So I would say, since we want the header to kind of be the thing, right? We want maybe the header to be where we're doing the reference point. I mean, it could be the container too. I don't know. Everything's in the header. I would go to the header here and turn on position, and I actually kind of have it here, position relative, right? I'm going to turn off. Doesn't change anything, right? Position relative on line 37 allows us to now position these things wherever we want. Okay, so maybe I'll start here just to get some things out of the way. Maybe we'll start with this more. Maybe move that down. But if we take a look at this page, why is the page so long when the other design isn't? And just take a look at it. I'm going to scroll down again. Do you see any content here? You do, right? You see that arrow because, remember, take a look at the design. I have all of these things stacked on top of each other. The arrows have height. They have some width. And because they have a height and width, they're stacking up on top of one another. If I take them out of the document flow, well, then they won't have height and width, and they won't push the header to be any bigger or larger than we deem the header should be, right? So, if we were to take this more, how would we get, I'm going to just start with the more, how would we get the more to sit at the very bottom? Where would we do that? And we'd have to see, what is that more button? Well, it is the class more bar, right? It's a section that has the more bar. Let's see if I can find where that is. Is this section more bar? 141? Yeah. Yeah. 151. 151. So I'm going to go to 151. Here's our more bar. And I'm kind of telling us, I'm giving us pointers where to go. All right, cool. If we want this thing to be on the bottom, two properties. Position, absolute, right? Position, absolute. So on line 159, position absolute. Doesn't change anything, but what if we did bottom 0? It moves it right to the bottom. Easy peasy, right? The thing just whoop, goes right to the bottom. You see how easy with position absolute. Once again, designing this, you might have said, all right, I'm going to put the nav there, I'm going to have this big div here, and then I'm going to put this underneath there, and they should stack nicely, and that's a nice approach. You can do that. But just understand, you can think outside the box now, and things can be wherever you wanted them to be. Okay, that doesn't mean you should go crazy with position absolute, like everything's position absolute. Don't go nuts. Use it meticulously, but examine other sites that you want to replicate and see. They did it for a real reason, and I see it used all the time. Okay, cool, we got that. The next thing that I'd like to do, once again, I just kind of want to move a few things out of the way. What about these 3 little dots right there? Oh, the 4 little dots, right? What are they? They are the bullets count, right? Let's see where the bullets count is. Is it, I have to find them too. bullets is on 100. Awesome. So let's go up to 100. Here we go. Line 100 is where bullets count, and I have a placeholder for position absolute. So on line 106, we're going to hit position absolute. Awesome. So position absolute. Does it? Oh, look, it moved it. Moved it right down. Okay. Some of the stuff's just going to move. I'm going to have to go and take a look at all of the CSS and see like what's causing it to drop down there. But it did, unless I have absolute and another position. Oh, look, I have bottom already. Do I have bottom on it? Yeah, so I already have it. So if I remove bottom, it goes up a little bit. I move bottom, it goes down, 20%. All right, so if I remove the bottom, all right, because this is coming from the same, because it says position absolute here, so I think I have it defined someplace else. But if I go bottom and I remove the 20%, it moves up. So it's resting against the next thing. It's like, I'm out of order, but I see that you're here, so I'm going to kind of, just like the boxes before with the green and the blue, right? The green, we just turned it on, but it was like, I can't really go up. I'm gonna, if you told me to go left or right, I could go that way, but I have something above me. Okay? So if I give it bottom 20%, it'll go 20%. Okay? That should have moved anyway, right? Here, I got bottom right here. So I'm going to put, just for the sake of this, I'm going to put it down here, just get a little note and say bottom. And put bottom there, back there. Once again, this could be anything. I'm using percentages now. You could use pixels percentages, you could use M's, you could use anything that positions something or gives it a height and a width. So we have two things done, right? The next thing would be this wrapper, right? Once again, I go here and I see wrapper, line 25 in the HTML is wrapper, which the way I write my code, the wrapper, when I write the code, I write it from the top down in the CSS. So I target whatever it is up here and then I kind of work my way down. So I'm going to just figure out where the wrapper is here, and on line 53, it looks like div container header div wrapper, right? Now, is it the whole wrapper? Because I have this little blurb. So I'm just going to say, is it the whole wrapper we want to move? Maybe just the blurb. Here's the wrapper. And here's the wrapper. There's the little blurb. So I'm going to say we want to move the whole wrapper because the blurb is just that, but this is the wrapper, right? So we want to move the whole wrapper. So once again, in the wrapper, right here, I don't have any placeholders. This is how it was done in the past. When I had kind of played around with this in the last class. I didn't do so much with it this class, but in the last class we were moving things around using margins. And so I pushed it down with margins to do, hey, we're learning box model, right? But I'm not doing that anymore. This isn't box model. This is position absolute, right? And then we have to tell it where we want this thing to be, right? So I'm just taking a look at my CSS where I said to put it. Header wrapper. Really matter. We could just guess it. No. So I'm going to say top, right? Or how about this? Do we want it? I'm going to go just take a look at the design. Where do we want it? Right? So what if I could say bottom and then push it from the bottom. I could say top and push it all the way down from the top. There's two ways to go. I could say left and push it all the way over. I would say the two places that it's closest to might be the best way. We could say right and then give it whatever pixels or percentages, and we could say bottom. Once again, whatever it is that's going to get the thing there. And so maybe I'm going to say bottom. I don't know, maybe 100 pixels. Is that going to, nope. Maybe, the other thing was 20%, so I'm going to say 30%. because I want it to be above it, right? This was 20% when we saw it. From the bottom, it was 20%. So if I do 30%, it goes higher from the bottom. Right? So now the percentages kind of give us an idea. And then we can just say right? I don't know, 10% maybe? Looks pretty good. Once again, we're just trying to eyeball it. That looks good. It looks like where we want it to be. Once again, percentages make it a little bit more flexible. Hard coding pixels means it's always got to be there. As the width decreases, so will this thing. See how its space to the right is decreasing because we gave it a percentage and not a hard-coded number. Sometimes hard-coded numbers are what you want, and then sometimes you don't, okay? There's design practices where when you use media queries, you use a concept of adaptive design where you keep everything fixed. You hit the breakpoint that you want, and then you move the things to other fixed points until that breakpoint doesn't support it anymore, right? That design, and then you force them. And then there's times where you use percentages to keep things as kind of responsive, and then when the design is off, then you change it. Either one works. Food sense works in the adaptive way. They kind of force things, and the minute they hit, things just move. There's not a lot of like responsive there. All right, this looks pretty good, right? Just a couple of little tweaks, and we got something where we put elements in position. We didn't have to worry about this thing bumping into that thing and like forcing this thing down. We didn't have to do that. It's pretty easy to do, right? The only thing we have left are these, and this looks, it kind of almost looks like it is where it should be, right? This thing looks like it is. It's this one down here that seems to be the problem, right? The other one needs adjustment. So I'm going to take a look. What is it in? What is it? This is our slide right, our class slide right. So slide, right? I'll go find it. Slide right. Oh, right here on line 141. Okay, so line 141 is the slide right. Boom. I have some things. Implement position, absolute solution here. Okay. I don't know why I have border there, but let's first turn on. I'm just going to kind of go up here, and we'll see it move. So here on line 150, let's just do position absolute. Right? Doesn't change the thing. The thing is, did it move? Nope, still didn't move. It's still right where we kind of told it to be. All right. Let's give it a right of 0 just to get it to the right. And it's now to the right. Awesome. What if we do top 0? Ah, so we're getting there. Now all that space is gone, but top 0. Oh, look, put it right there. Why did it go right there? Why did it kind of center itself? Why do you think? Why would top 0 have gotten rid of all of the space below? I get rid of top 0. See all this space? What's producing that space again? Now just think, if I move this element all the way up and magically that space disappears, what caused the space? That element, right? That one element, because of the stacking of the elements in the document flow, had a height, I don't know, 100 pixels, 200 pixels. And the minute we said, I don't want you here anymore, I want you here, it took itself and its height. It no longer is in the document flow, and there's nothing there that's preventing it, right? And then all you have to do now is what? If you wanted to fix these two a little bit, what would you do? I'll take a look at the design. Take a look at design. What do you think is left to kind of fix them? All right, so I'll ask the question. Is this thing flush against the right side? No. All right. Is this thing flush against the right side? Yeah. Is this thing flushing it? Like, if you were to produce this website and give it to people, do you think you want that? No, that's kind of ugly, right? They'd be like, well, why is that thing? Like, couldn't they position absolute it? That's what I'd be saying. So try to position absolute it. Move it over. Move this one over a little bit. This thing would be left and move it a certain number of pixels or percentage. This one is right. Move it a certain pixels percentage from the right. Okay? That's it. On the slide right, I did right 0, but if I did right, I don't know, 10 pixels or something, it would push it to the right. If we went to full screen mode, you'd see this better. Anytime it's like this little slide bar up here, that's the extra space that we're seeing. But the slide, because the slide bar's there, we don't see the extra space. We see the slide bar. Okay? If I remove my mouse, do we have nice dimensions there? Right? Good. You can remove the slide bar too. There's a property for us to remove it. I forgot off the top of my head. So that it would slide, you just wouldn't see the slide bar, right? The slide bar isn't needed. You know you're sliding. Why do I need to see the bar sitting on the right-hand side? And then it's just the left one, right? Well, this was slide right. Where's slide left? Oh, here's slide left. And even here, I'm forcing it. I'm saying, hey, I want you to be position absolute. I don't think we need to do this, but I did have it. And I would say left, I don't know, 10 pixels, right? Boom, moves it nice. I'm going to say top 0. And it moved it up. Do you see it moved it up? This thing moved up. So we're on line 136 for the left one. Because in the document flow, just give me 1 second, in the document flow, this thing was pushing up against this. And so they were off, right? Because we're using the very top as our position relative. So that element went past the nav, up to the very top of the header, and said, that's my position. So they were off by a certain number of pixels, right? So if I force them both to have that, then they both work, right? I'm sorry, Brianna, your question?
Yeah, so we said the top 0, should it be sitting on the navigation?
It's sitting below the navigation. Because what has position relative? Where did we turn position relative on? If I go back in here and I just take a look at our stack here, what was the thing that we turned position on? Because everything is kind of in our wrapper, right? So I'm just going to do this. Here's our wrapper, right? So here's our, oh, the wrapper was the verb, the header. We set it on the header, right? And the header has the navigation, right? So the nav element hasn't been touched. We haven't done position or anything. So it sits where it should sit. It's in the document flow. It knows where the top left is by default because that's its job. It extends the full width. But the minute we tell this thing to go top, it blows past the nav and goes right up to the thing that it sees that has relative as a parent element. Okay? If I do position absolute on any one of these things, what is the first element that it looks for position relative? Okay. If I turn, and we did, if I turn position relative, position absolute on this, what parent element or what element would it look to first to see if it had position relative? To which one? To the immediate parent, right? Don't think that it's going to look to this thing because they're siblings. It doesn't look at its siblings. It looks to the next parent, its immediate parent. If that parent doesn't have it, what does it do? It goes to the next one. And then the next one, and then the next one. And if there's nothing that has position relative, where does it wind up? All the way in the top left of the body. Goes all the way up. Because it's got nowhere else to go. That's where it goes. Okay? No, this thing right here. So take a look. If you examine it, where is it? It's going, but that's the header. Yeah, it's got 100% height. The element has 100% height. That's the element. That's its height. And so it's going past the nav to the header, right?
So if something has a height that's larger than the element that's just coming in the middle.
Well, the image itself is in the middle. That's just the position of the image. Like you can take an image, cut it any which way you want. I could take an X and put it in the corner and have a whole empty space around the image.
It automatically centers, right?
If you centered it,
But it's not centered.
but this thing is centered there. This is centered in the height. Is that not in the middle? Is the distance between this and that the same?
If you change the height, would it change the position?
Oh, if we change the height, well, so let's change the height. If I go here and I click on the element, and let's see, did I give it a height? It has a height. It has a height of 100%. If I gave it 50%, all right, did that change it? Well, let's take a look. There it is. It's still positioned in the middle. And I think, I don't know if this is the case. I don't know if I have position background. Oh, so I do have position things here for the image itself. So that is a background, right? You see a background, right? This is a background image. That's a background position. So I'm actually taking this image, applying it as a background to something, because that's what we're doing. This thing right here is slide left. Do you see an image tag here? Which means what? If you see an image on the page and you don't see an image tag, where's the image coming from? The background, right? You're applying it to the background. So I just did some additional stuff here. Once again, we kind of covered background properties weeks ago. It's just being applied here. I just can't go into detail of it, but it is in the image. I'm forcing it to be background position 0, so it kind of centers the image inside its background position. This is another thing, like doing background images also have background positions. We can force them, okay? It's going to go height 100% again. There we go.
So centered because it's over.
Exactly. So if you look up the background properties, there's like a solid 5 or 6 you should constantly work with because you will see things like this. Even this little thing right here, which this little image right here is called a sprite. This little image is a collection of other images. There's like 10 little images here that you don't see because the box that I put this thing in, I positioned the thing just right to be over that image. You don't see the rest of it, okay? Once again, that's a whole other thing, but if I went into it, maybe I could open it up. Here it is, right? Here's the cloud in there, and if I open up that thing, you would see exactly what this, see how it says sprite? So again, I pulled it right off their site. I examined their site, saw the little thing, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to use their thing. This is called the sprite. The sprite has one image with multiple things. So all I have to do is grab the image and then position the image where I want it to be seen. If I have an image and I have a box sitting here and the image is applied as a background image, then I just move the box to focus in on the spot that I want, and that's all you'll see. Just another technique for doing this. And you'll see stuff like this as you investigate.
Are you like storing images in that image?
No, this is an image. The person that created this, I pulled it off of the Mars site. Whoever created this image decided to put these images and maybe use Adobe Photoshop and cut the images and put them there, saved it as an image, right? And that's it. You could have done this with like HTML and CSS.
So there are images saved in an image that you're gonna.
I'm going to assume, yeah, but this itself now is part of this image. It's not an image by itself. This is the image. Somebody took these little icons, laid them out, and then was like, snapshot. And that's it. They could have built those with HTML and CSS, put them in a container together next to each other, like, and it's an image. I could do this right now. I could say, I'm going to take this snapshot, And now I have an image that all I have to do is move it around and I can achieve the same effect.
What do you mean? I don't know.
It's just a collection of things. That's it. If we went back to like our little boxes earlier and I took an image of that box, the 4 boxes stacked on top of each other, if I took that image, I could take that same image, apply it as a background image, and then choose box pink one by moving the image around and being like, boop. And you wouldn't know the difference by looking at it.
And you would only see the pink one.
If I gave the container element 50 by 50 pixels, so you couldn't see the rest of the image. The lens upon which I'm seeing the thing needs to be focused and be of the height and width so that you don't see the things behind it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're writing a page,
Mm-hmm.
you would do that so you only have one image that you have to reference. You have these various.
Exactly. So this becomes an asset that we say, hey, you need a drop down, go to the sprite, use the sprite. Instead of having 10 separate images all over the place, one sprite does it all. We update one sprite, change the color, change something, and then you reference that same sprite. If it's in the same position, everything should work.
And you just change the positioning for what image.
Exactly. And if we went there, I could change this by going in there and changing it. All right. Do you see the practicality behind position absolutely? As well as background images and things, right? This thing still needs to be someplace, right? That's the only thing that's really tripping us up. And I don't know why my machine's acting all weird, but how would we get this thing there? What would we do there? We'd have to move it, right? Position absolute it or something. Right? I just find here's the more, and here's the arrow. Here's the more. I think I might have done something else with this. I might have done, I don't know, display inline. I did display inline block, but it's still down here. So I forgot. I have to go take a look and see what I did. The top of my head, I'm not sure. So I would go here and just be like, all right, here's the image. What did I do? I don't think I did. Did I do? I don't have anything with position absolute here. So I didn't do position absolute. So I have to figure out what I did. I forgot. Unless I added it here. Here's position absolute on the more bar. We know that. Here's the title. Maybe title has something. I'm not sure. I have to figure this one out. I forgot what I did. We could force it there now if we wanted to, but that's not what I wanted. Okay. So now that you have all this, you're going to do this. Here's the official food sensor. I'm going to turn off that. What I want you to do is this. This is position absolute. How would I know it's position absolute? Well, if I go here and I highlight it, both of these elements, do they look like they're being pushed around or pushing themselves around? No. If I go here, does it look like the parent container is pushing them anywhere? No. If I click on it, I would see, once again, I may not necessarily design things like this, but I have an H1 and an H2 in an anchor tag. It's not something I would naturally just design. But if you click on the H1, what are you going to see? Top. If I click on the H2, top, which means what? Position what? Absolute. Absolute. But here's a weird thing. Take a look at the anchor tag. Look at the anchor tag. Tell me what's unique about the anchor tag. Look at the very top. Doesn't have a width or a height, but it has elements. Why does it not have a width or a height? What did you do to the children? Yeah, I took them out. The minute I gave them position absolute, they're out of the document flow. The parent doesn't even know they exist. The parent's like, oh, I had 2 children, and now I don't. This is awesome. And I can go do what I want now. I've had these children all my life, but now they're not here anymore. I can go do whatever I want. So just consider that too, that they didn't target the anchor tag to move it down here. They physically target each one of these elements. I personally would have probably targeted the anchor tag and moved it, and the elements stay there. That's how I would have done it. Once again, I didn't build this, and this is a great site. I didn't build it. We built this years ago. I have no idea. But your job is to emulate this. Either you can do it with the anchor tag, H1, H2. You can do them. I've seen students do them with just paragraphs. Whatever you want to do, your job is to get them in about that position, starting with that. Okay? And this is responsive too, so you could play around with the responsive if you're feeling. There you go. Okay? You have to create the elements. Okay, I'm going to just change the view here into editor view. And in here, those elements don't exist. Okay? There is responsive turned on here. So if I collapse the nav on the left-hand side, here's the header. Oh, I did. I added 2 paragraphs. You can go with these 2 paragraphs, or you can do whatever you want. Okay? So I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to delete the paragraphs, save it. So if you didn't fork it, if you weren't really quick, they're gone. So now you got to create. That's what I really wanted you to examine it, see if you could reproduce it. If you can't and you want to go your own route, go your own route, however you feel. But really, all you have to do is investigate the real food sense website. See those elements and make them appear there. And get them into that position. Okay? This is us. And this is the official food sense site. Okay. When you're done, click on the thumbs up. Shoot me it also. If you get it, shoot me your code pen. Like, can you make it responsive?
No.
You can. That's what the hell is that? Because this is what if we had time the other day, I was going to do this, but this is a lot. So this is responsive, and and this site is also responsive. Move it in. You see how the text changes to go down here? What's that? Oh, all right. Well, that's an excuse. Like, I'm not going to knock that. Ah, yeah. So you did yours based on percentages, I can see. Because now look, so that's not what we want. And I don't know, what is it using as its, yeah. Back to work. Back to work.
I told you I couldn't make it responsive.
Once again, you have the other thing to examine, like how do they force this thing to stay in its position? You know, how is it staying there? Are they using, I don't know, percentages, pixels? What are they doing? Yeah, they hard coded it as pixels. I also want to use this as an example of you're going to be working on your final projects and looking at other sites. Seeing something like this and liking this design means that you should know how to investigate it and reproduce it. You're only reproducing 2 elements. That's all you need to do. All right, yours looks good, Smitty. Except when it collapses right up there. What else we got? Yeah, I mean, you're still working on it, right? Are you trying to do responsive? Yeah. Okay, cool. See if you can lock in the responsive. Come on, maybe you get to show people that work and be like, look what I did. You're developer people. You can find my friend Eric. You're like, Eric, look what Joe told me. Yeah. So you need some changes to like not removing this. Okay. No, I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah.
You made some.
Now.
Oh, okay. Because you made edits, and I'm like, oh, it's not centered anymore. You got the thing here. I was just like, I didn't really understand where everything else was going.
I started playing around with the media.
Mm-hmm. Can you give me maybe another 2 minutes? So, is it this position absolute right here? Yeah. Did you define it? And there is no width on this? Or you give it a, you're giving it a width?
Just because I made
Is it inside something? Because I see 100%.
I just.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious if this thing is inside of something. These two lines inside of something. You just like, make it go away. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, so you got it on the response.
Now I have it, but then here,
Mhm.
I wanted to make this shrink.
So when you set the width, did you set it on each element to be 100%? Because if it's 100%, it should be going the whole thing, right? I don't know how you structured it, that's the thing. But you were using what I had done, the big overlay big and then overlay small?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I stayed with yours.
So if it is 100%, then
But then I
it
had
should.
the width 100% just to make it here 100%.
Yep.
So I added this here,
Mhm.
but then, I don't know.
I'm just
why
curious
I
why
wanted
it's
to
not
do
going the 100% when you're doing it. So you could say, send me your pen, I'll just pull it up, because I think I need to like go to developer tools to look at it. My assumption is like, there's a parent container that contains it, and that's 100%, and this is just 100% of the, but from what I saw, I didn't see that.
I did do that,
Oh, then that's the thing. Okay. Yeah,
but I didn't do that anymore.
I'd have to,
Yeah, let me see.
all right, so 918. I'm gonna shoot out a poll. I wanna see what you thought the difficulty of this lab was, 5 being the hardest. So just shot a poll in the channel. Tell me your thoughts. So we're borderline the difficult side of things. Okay, I mean, that's fine. It's one of those things when I look at something like this, I'm like, there's only 2 elements that you got to get them when they need to get to, right? But it can be challenging. So let me just take a look on this. All right, so Robert sent me here. So I'm not going to do responsive. I'm just looking at the thing, right? We know that they're positioned where we want them to be. That's good. They're fixed. We're going to fix that. That's not a big deal right now. Let's just take a look and see what was added, right? So this is the structure. So in the H2 and an H3, similar to their design, it was an anchor with an H1 and an H2. You're doing an H2 and an H3. That's fine, right? You're playing with
I just changed the text size a bit, make it easier.
okay. Yeah, so you got it. So those are the elements. Now, if we take a look at those elements here, right, where you would have done it, tell me the line and I'll go straight down.
111.
111. All right, so I'm going to go here. 111 is where these things, here's the H2 and the H3. 111 is where the H2 and the H3 I'm just going to Slack this out in the channel also, so if anybody wants to take a look, they can take a look also. All right. So we have position absolute, right? And if we turn position absolute off, nothing happens to the, oh, there we go. So the element goes above because of the position is H2, H3 image, right? In the HTML, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Look, H2, H3 image. H2, the minute I take position absolute off of this, it's going to move it up there, and then image. That's the document flow. And I want to remove the document flow. I just want to show what it would look like when you add it, so then you're like, oh, right? That's it. Now there's some, some margin here, pushing around, pushing the thing down. Okay. So the minute you turn it on, once again, I'm just going to get rid of bottom here on the H3. I'm just going to turn position absolute on. I am going to get rid of bottom here on the H2 and just turn position absolute on. Okay, and they stack up on top of each other, right? They both go and vie for the left. And the last one process, the H3 sits on top of the next bit, right? That's a grid thing too, right? Grid would have done the same thing. We never really did it, but if I took a grid element and I put it here, and then the next element I also told it to be in the same thing, it would have overrode it and sat on top of it. That's also another grid technique to stack things. So they're both up there right now. That's it. I want to tell them where to be. It's just a matter of doing bottom or top or whatever. 25%, the thing moves down. I go to H3, 18%, and so you have to play with these positions, right? Now, I would probably, once again, prefer to put them in a container so that I'm just apply position absolute once. This requires that you monitor two separate elements, right? I'm just saying my design. We're following what they did because they did a really good job, and I'm sure they have reasons for doing it. If I talked to their developer and I was like, hey, why'd you do that? They would have been like, well, blah, 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 blah. And I would be like, oh, that makes sense. I don't know why they separated them, but separation means more work for us. So I would have put them in a container, move the whole container down, and then that's it. Then I can move the container around fluidly, unless these two things need to be in their own spots at some point in time. I don't know. From the design, I don't think they do. But for all I know, maybe they did at some point in time, right? And then it's just, if we were to hit a breakpoint, we'd want these to maybe drop down, right? If we get far enough here. And that would have been in the media period, right? So at that point in time, we know bottom this, bottom that. If I was to take this H3, right, which is the second one, and if I go to our media queries down here, I see some media queries. I see at 470, 425, I'm assuming that's about 425. If I was like, all right, media query, H3 at that, I want that to be maybe, I don't know, bottom zero. Does it move it? Maybe I didn't hit the breakpoint. Yeah, it's got padding though, because it's got margin because it's an H3. So this is one of those things. The margins earlier that I defined disappeared when we turned on position absolute. And yet these margins are here. So I'd have to actually say margin, just say 0, and it moves it down nicely, right? If I go back, they go back. Well, I have to refix it. Move this up maybe a little bit. I don't know why it's, nope, there it's perfect. Then over here, so we'd have to fix it at kind of this breakpoint, whatever that is. If we go here, once again, the size, the opacity, but still, we could get there. It's just tweaking it in two places now. That's all I would need to do. So here's one. So I don't know why they jump there. Because of this jumps, so I think you have percentages, right? So the percentages are forcing them like now to do this. Not sure why. We'd have to take a look and see why they would. Right, 111 it was here. Right, yeah, bottom 25%. So maybe if I just gave them hard-coded pixels, I'm not really sure why. Maybe, I don't know, 100 pixels with that. And it wasn't? All right, I'm just gonna try 100 pixels. This one would be 120 pixels. I don't know, I'm just kind of playing with the numbers. 150 pixels. 200 oh, because I'm going bottom, 75 pixels. So I'm starting from the bottom. There we go. So I'm just going to do that. All right, let's see. They stay nice. Nothing changes. Percentages don't mess these things up. They do at some point in time over here, right? So when I hit that breakpoint, I'm just going to go back down in my media query and say here, bottom 0, and maybe the H2 also 0. Let's just see if we can maybe fix it. H2, bottom 0. Let's see if they both should. Oh, they both do go. I don't know why they keep pushing up. We'd have to figure out what's happening there. But then they both, that one pushes down. This one, the H3 needs to be, H2 needs to be above, right? So bottom, I don't know, 20 pixels maybe. I don't know. There you go, 25 pixels. Move it up a little. 25 pixels maybe. Something about that, right? Move it out again. Oop, and they're good. Good. Right, so keep them hard-coded. I don't know. Did you change the pixel percentage? Because they do seem like they move up. I don't know. All I wanted was this, though. Everything else was just kink. Like, you know, if you could get these to be there, which shouldn't have taken you that long to get them there, based on seeing how I did it, right? Now that you saw it, is that something you're like, oh man, I could have gotten them there, right? Couple of tweaks and that's it. And you did position relative on what element?
On the slides.
On the slides, right? On this container element, right? On slides right here, right? So you got position relative on slides, right?
Because otherwise the picture is all the way out.
Okay, because that's where the image is. Yeah, this is the image, right? So you put it over here, and these things will use that as now the reference point, not its parent element as the reference point. Okay. Once again, just think. Sometimes the level of difficulty is good at this point in time, especially as you're getting projects. And you're going to be like, I'm going to do this crazy, amazing thing, and I'm going to be like, well, how long did it take you to do that? How long would it have taken you to do that? If you can't do this, just think when you attack your project, like, man, this is going to be really difficult to get all this other stuff. So just consider that when you're thinking about your project. Cool. Awesome. Cool. Just need an exit ticket, and we are done for the day. I'll select this out. This is the last thing. The 2-minute exit ticket. And if you haven't booked office hours, definitely book office hours. Get some time in. Figure it. Okay.
But then if I start heading like
It starts growing.
Yeah, like grows too much.
I think at that point in time.
Probably I need to like resize.
Yeah. So just think,
Can't I
are
just,
you
like-
ever going to be at that size?
No, but can't I like prohibit it from growing there?
From expanding to be
Yeah.
that size?
Can't I?
Well,
tell
you
it,
have the
like,
content.
just-
So
Can't I tell it like just this is the least you can go, and after that just like you know like
what are you going
like
to do
you'll
with
need
the
to
text?
scroll the image.
You definitely don't want to scroll.
I know, but like I really don't want to. I'd rather it scroll than it do that.
Oh, I got it.
You know, like after it's like a ridiculous size.
So then I think at that point in time, maybe if you want, you still would want it to scroll. You're on a mobile device. You don't want to do that. Like, I think what you're wanting to do is force it to do this thing that it's never going to do.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's what you're trying to do. What I would probably do, if that's what you wanted, maybe make this, give it some more height so that it can push down a little bit more. If you really wanted to see the content, that's what I would do. Because-
otherwise just disappear.
Yeah, otherwise you would, at that point in time, choose the concept. It's immediate query. You can target these things and give them half the pixel size of what they were. That would be the only way to save that design.